Salvatore, Lucky, Luciano, one of the most infamous figures in the history of organized crime, was born on November 24, 1897, in Lercara Fritti, a small town in Sicily, Italy. From his early years, Luciano exhibited a combination of street smarts and ambition that would later earn him his notorious nickname, Lucky. In 1906, at the age of 9, Luciano and his family immigrated to the United States in search of a better life. They settled in the crowded and bustling Lower East Side of New York City, a melting pot of various immigrant communities. However, life in the tenements of the Lower East Side was far from the American dream they had envisioned. The Luciano family faced the harsh realities of poverty, overcrowding, and discrimination as they struggled to make ends meet. Growing up in this challenging environment, young Salvatore Luciano was exposed to the allure of street life. He quickly fell into the orbit of neighborhood street gangs, where he learned the ropes of petty crime and survival. His early forays into criminal activities included theft, extortion, and acts of violence, which were part and parcel of the daily life of the neighborhood. Luciano's intelligence and charisma set him apart even in his youth. He displayed a keen ability to organize and lead, which earned him respect among his peers. However, it was also during this period that he received a vicious attack that would leave him with a permanent scar and serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of the criminal underworld. As Luciano grew older, he began to recognize the limitations of street-level crime and the need for a more organized and profitable approach. His early experiences in the Lower East Side would serve as the foundation upon which he would build his criminal empire in the coming years. The 1920s marked a transformative period in American history with the onset of Prohibition, a nationwide ban on the production, sale, and transportation of alcoholic beverages. This era would prove to be a boon for organized crime as the demand for alcohol skyrocketed. Prohibition created a lucrative black market for alcohol, and organized crime figures like Lucky Luciano saw this as a golden opportunity. Bootlegging operations sprang up across the country, smuggling illegal liquor from various sources, including Canada, and distributing it to speakeasies and consumers alike. The immense profits generated from bootlegging fueled the expansion of organized crime networks. Luciano, now known as Lucky, due to his ability to avoid several close calls and brushes with the law, recognized the potential for wealth and power within the burgeoning world of organized crime. He began to align himself with established mafia families and figures, understanding that their influence and resources were essential for his aspirations. Luciano's intelligence and strategic thinking quickly became apparent to his criminal associates. He became a trusted member of the Italian-American Mafia, which was undergoing significant transformations during Prohibition. The old guard bosses were being replaced by a younger generation of mobsters, and Luciano was at the forefront of this changing landscape. Luciano was not content with mere foot soldier status. He actively participated in various criminal enterprises, including bootlegging and illegal gambling. His organizational skills and ability to forge alliances made him a valuable asset in the criminal underworld. Luciano also began developing relationships with other rising stars in organized crime, including Meyer Lansky and Frank Costello. These partnerships would prove crucial in his future endeavors and the restructuring of the mafia. As Prohibition continued, Luciano's influence and wealth grew exponentially. He was positioning himself to play a pivotal role in the next chapter of organized crime's evolution, one that would reshape the American Mafia and solidify his place as one of its most prominent figures. The early 1930s brought a tumultuous period in the history of the American Mafia, known as the Castellammarese War. This conflict erupted as a struggle for dominance within the New York Mafia, with powerful Italian-American factions vying for control. Lucky, by this time, had risen through the ranks of the Italian-American Mafia and played a significant role in the unfolding conflict. His strategic brilliance, keen understanding of power dynamics, and ability to forge alliances made him a key player in the war. Luciano initially aligned himself with Joseph Bonanno, a fellow rising star in the Mafia. Together, they formed a coalition aimed at unseating the reigning boss of the Maranzano family, Salvatore Maranzano, and his Castellammarese faction. Maranzano's ambitions to become the ultimate power in the mafia and his ruthless methods had caused tensions to escalate. The Castellamarese War was marked by violent clashes, assassinations, and power struggles. Rival factions targeted each other's key figures, leading to a bloodbath within the Italian-American criminal world. It was during this time that Luciano's strategic mind truly shone. He orchestrated numerous attacks against Maranzano's organization, demonstrating a willingness to use violence to achieve his goals. Luciano's ability to navigate the complex web of alliances and rivalries within the mafia allowed him to effectively command a coalition of mobsters. Ultimately, the Castellamarese War came to an end with the assassination of Salvatore Maranzano in September 1931. This event marked a turning point in the conflict, as Maranzano's death paved the way for a new order in the mafia. Lucky Luciano played a pivotal role in establishing this new order. He believed in eliminating the old-style, hierarchical structure of the mafia, where power was concentrated in the hands of a single boss. Instead, he advocated for a more streamlined and cooperative system, one that would later become known as the Mafia Commission. Under this system, leaders from the 5 major mafia families in New York would meet to resolve disputes, make decisions, and govern organized crime collectively. Luciano's vision for a more democratic and pragmatic mafia would shape its future direction. With the Castellamarese War resolved, Lucky Luciano focused on implementing his vision of a more organized and efficient mafia. In 1931, he played a pivotal role in the creation of the Mafia Commission, a governing body composed of representatives from the major mafia families in New York City. This marked a significant departure from the old hierarchical structure of the mafia. The commission served as a forum for resolving disputes, making important decisions, and coordinating criminal activities on a national level. It was a radical departure from the traditional autocratic leadership style, and Luciano's leadership was instrumental in bringing the other mafia families on board with this new approach. Under Luciano's leadership, the mafia expanded its criminal enterprises beyond traditional Italian-American neighborhoods and into other major American cities. The commission facilitated cooperation and collaboration among the various families, allowing them to work together on large-scale criminal enterprises. Bootlegging during Prohibition had been a lucrative venture, but with the repeal of the 18th Amendment in 1933, the mafia needed to diversify. Luciano oversaw the expansion into new and profitable areas, including illegal gambling, labor unions, and narcotics trafficking. His strategic thinking and ability to forge partnerships ensured that the mafia remained a formidable force in the American underworld. As the mafia's influence continued to grow, Luciano recognized the value of forging alliances beyond the Italian-American criminal community. He began to build connections with other criminal organizations, such as Jewish and Irish gangs, forming what would become known as the National Crime Syndicate. The National Crime Syndicate was a loose network of criminal enterprises that transcended ethnic and regional boundaries. It allowed for greater coordination and collaboration between various organized crime factions, resulting in increased profitability and influence for all involved. Lucky Luciano's leadership and vision played a pivotal role in the establishment and growth of the National Crime Syndicate, forever changing the landscape of organized crime in America. His ability to adapt to changing circumstances and create a more structured criminal enterprise set the stage for the modernization and globalization of organized crime in the United States. By the mid-1930s, Lucky Luciano had risen to the pinnacle of power within the Italian-American mafia, overseeing a network of criminal enterprises that spanned the nation. However, his meteoric rise was about to face a significant setback. In 1936, Luciano was arrested on charges related to compulsory prostitution, a case that would become one of the most infamous in organized crime history. The charges stemmed from his involvement in the management of a prostitution ring. The authorities believed that by targeting him on these charges, they could deal a significant blow to organized crime. Despite his considerable wealth and influence, Luciano was not able to escape the legal dragnet. He was tried, convicted, and sentenced to a lengthy prison term. His arrest marked a turning point in his criminal career, as he would now have to navigate the criminal underworld from behind bars. The legal battle that ensued was a high-profile affair. Luciano's defense team argued vehemently against the charges, claiming that they were part of a conspiracy to dismantle the mafia's power structure. However, the prosecution presented a compelling case, and Luciano was found guilty. His trial sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld. It was a stark reminder that even the most powerful figures in organized crime could be brought to justice. The conviction also had the effect of emboldening law enforcement agencies, which redoubled their efforts to dismantle organized crime networks. Lucky Luciano began serving his sentence at the Clinton Correctional Facility in New York. Despite being behind bars, he continued to exert influence over the mafia and its operations. He maintained communication with his criminal associates, offering guidance and making key decisions regarding the family's activities. Luciano's ability to maintain control from prison showcased his resourcefulness and adaptability. He remained a respected figure within the mafia, and his influence extended beyond prison walls. However, his absence from the streets allowed other mobsters, such as Frank Costello, to rise in prominence and fill the void of leadership. After serving a significant portion of his prison sentence, Lucky Luciano saw an opportunity to secure his release. During World War II, the United States government sought the cooperation of the mafia in protecting the New York waterfront from potential sabotage by enemy agents. Luciano's connections proved invaluable in this regard. In 1946, as a result of his assistance during the war effort, Luciano's sentence was commuted, and he was released from prison. However, there was a catch: he was immediately deported to Italy. This marked the end of his direct involvement in American organized crime. Luciano's exile in Italy was a complex period in his life. While he was far from the center of American organized crime, he remained in contact with criminal associates on both sides of the Atlantic. He continued to provide guidance and direction to his underlings, despite the geographical distance. During this time, Luciano also formed connections with European criminal figures, expanding his influence internationally. He enjoyed a lavish lifestyle, frequented by celebrities, and maintained connections with political and social elites in Italy. One of the most notable events during Luciano's time in exile was the Havana Conference of 1946. Organized by Luciano, this high-profile gathering brought together various American and international crime figures, including Meyer Lansky, Frank Costello, and Albert Anastasia. The conference was significant in that it solidified the connections between American and international criminal enterprises. It also provided an opportunity to discuss various criminal ventures, including drug trafficking, casino operations, and other lucrative endeavors. While the Havana Conference showcased Luciano's ability to wield influence even from afar, it also attracted the attention of law enforcement agencies worldwide. It became clear that he was a major player in the global criminal underworld, and governments on both sides of the Atlantic sought ways to counter his influence. In 1947, after more than a decade in exile, Lucky Luciano saw an opportunity to return to the United States. With the end of World War II, law enforcement agencies were less focused on his activities, and there was a growing desire among his criminal associates to have him back in New York. Luciano's return marked a significant moment in the annals of organized crime. He had been deported to Italy in 1946, but the changing dynamics of the post-war world offered a chance for him to return to the center of the American mafia. His return was shrouded in secrecy and orchestrated with the utmost caution. The circumstances of his deportation had already demonstrated his value to U.S. authorities in matters related to national security. Upon his return, Luciano encountered a transformed landscape within the American mafia. While he was still a respected and revered figure, the power dynamics had shifted during his absence. Frank Costello, often referred to as the Prime Minister of the Underworld, had solidified his position as a key player within the Luciano crime family. Additionally, other mobsters had risen to prominence, reflecting the changing times and the evolution of organized crime. The younger generation of mobsters, like Vito Genovese, had come into their own and sought a greater share of power and influence. Despite his reputation and legendary status, Luciano quickly realized that he no longer wielded the same level of influence as before. The mafia was evolving, and the landscape was characterized by a more decentralized power structure. Luciano's role shifted from that of an all-powerful boss to that of an elder statesman and advisor. He continued to provide guidance and served as a respected figure within the mafia. His experience and wisdom were invaluable in mediating disputes, offering counsel, and navigating the complex web of criminal alliances. However, it was clear that the days of his absolute dominance were behind him, and he had to adapt to the changing dynamics within the organization. On January 26, 1962, Lucky Luciano's life came to a sudden and mysterious end in Naples, Italy. He was found dead in his apartment, a victim of a heart attack. However, given his notorious status and involvement in organized crime, his death immediately sparked speculation and conspiracy theories. Rumors swirled that Luciano had been poisoned or that rival mobsters or even law enforcement agencies had played a role in his demise. The circumstances surrounding his death remain a subject of debate and intrigue to this day. Luciano's funeral in Naples was a testament to his legendary status. It was attended by a mix of criminal associates, political figures, and even celebrities. His life had been marked by power, ambition, and adaptability, and his death only added to the mystique that had surrounded him throughout his criminal career. In many ways, Lucky Luciano's final years were a reflection of the evolving nature of organized crime. His return to the United States, his diminished role within the mafia, and the mystery surrounding his death served as a poignant reminder of the ever-changing dynamics of the criminal underworld and the complexities of a life lived on the fringes of society. Lucky Luciano's legacy in the world of organized crime is nothing short of legendary. His impact on the American mafia and the broader landscape of organized crime is undeniable. Several key aspects of his legacy stand out. One of Luciano's most enduring contributions was the creation of the Mafia Commission. This governing body introduced a more structured and democratic approach to the Italian-American mafia. It brought together leaders from the major mafia families in New York City, providing a forum for resolving disputes, making important decisions, and coordinating criminal activities on a national scale. The commission system persisted for decades and became a hallmark of how the American mafia operated, ensuring a more organized and cooperative approach to organized crime. Luciano's influence extended beyond American borders. Through his connections and alliances, he played a pivotal role in expanding organized crime internationally. The Havana Conference of 1946, organized by Luciano himself, demonstrated his ability to operate on an international scale. Criminal figures from various countries came together to discuss and coordinate activities, laying the groundwork for a global criminal network. Luciano's role in this expansion solidified his status as a key figure in the global underworld, shaping the international landscape of organized crime. Luciano's ability to adapt to evolving law enforcement tactics, political pressures, and changing criminal landscapes allowed him to remain relevant and influential for decades. He recognized the need to diversify criminal enterprises beyond Prohibition-era bootlegging and played a crucial role in the expansion of illegal gambling, labor unions, and narcotics trafficking. His strategic brilliance and capacity to forge partnerships ensured that the mafia remained a formidable force in the American underworld. Luciano's legacy is a study in complexity. While he was undoubtedly a criminal mastermind and a central figure in organized crime, his influence extended beyond the realm of illegal activities. Several aspects of his complex legacy are worth reflecting upon. Luciano's reach extended to political figures, law enforcement, and high society. His ability to navigate both the criminal and legitimate worlds blurred the lines between the underworld and mainstream society. His connections with influential individuals added layers of intrigue to his story, highlighting the extent of his influence. Luciano's life story has inspired countless books, films, and television shows. His complex personality, strategic brilliance, and the enduring mystery surrounding his life and death continue to captivate the public's imagination. He remains a symbol of organized crime's audacity and ruthlessness, serving as a central character in the lore of the American Mafia. In the annals of organized crime history, Lucky Luciano stands as a towering figure. His legacy serves as a reminder of the enduring allure and dangers of a criminal empire built on power, ambition, and adaptability. While his time at the forefront of organized crime may have passed, the impact of his actions and innovations continues to shape the criminal underworld and the broader cultural fascination with figures like Lucky Luciano.